So boys and girls, as we continue to look at the Ten Commandments, Emma this morning is going to share the second commandment with us, and I'm going to hand over to Emma now to do that.
Good morning, boys and girls. Hope you're all doing well. This morning we're going to talk a little bit more about God's 10 good rules, the 10 commandments. And if you watched last week, you'll know that we looked at the very first of God's good rules, and that was to put God first in your life. I wonder, did any of you manage to do that this week? Well, today we're going to look at commandment number 2. And commandment number 2 is, do not bow down to any false gods. What on earth does that mean, do you think? Well, a false god is something that we make more important than God, something that takes up a bit more room in our hearts than it probably should, and something that we spend so much of our time on and so much of our love on that we actually push God out. Let me show you what I mean. I want you to imagine that this jug of water is our hearts. Now we know that God lives in our hearts and our hearts are full of His goodness, just as this jug is full of water. So let's pretend that the water in the jug is God's goodness in our hearts. But the problem is, boys and girls, sometimes other things try to crowd into our hearts and take up too much space. And that's space that we should be trying to give to God. So it might be things like watching loads of TV, or maybe it's spending all our time on computer games, or maybe it's just loving money a wee bit too much, or maybe we just want stuff. We spend all our time wanting stuff that we see on TV, stuff that other people have. And these things all take up room in our hearts. And the problem is, if they take up too much room, look what happens. We put in the stuff that we want, we put in all the time spent on TV, we spent the money in, we put in all the time spent on computer games. And do you see what happens? God and God's goodness starts to get pushed out of our hearts. And guys, God knows just how easily that can happen to us. And He also knows that all these other things can't make us happy the way that He can make us happy. So that's why God gives us this great rule to live by. Commandment number 2. Don't bow down to false gods. Don't give all your time to them. Don't give all your heart to them. Don't give all your love to them. Leave space in your heart for God. These other things can't make you happy the way that God can make you happy. Let's leave space, guys, this week in our hearts for God. So we're going to practice commandment number 1 and commandment number 2 together. And adults, you can join in with us as well. Let's see what we can remember. So commandment number 1 is remember to put God first in your life. And commandment number 2 is do not bow down to any false gods. Great. So join us back here next week for commandment number 3.
So Emma, I want to say a massive thank you for that teaching to our young people this morning, but so relevant to all ages. And of course we are a church of all ages and for all ages. So I want to say thank you for that teaching. We're going to have our reading now, and Jack is going to come and bring that reading to us from Exodus chapter 32.
Today's reading is taken from Exodus chapter 32 verses 1 to 26. The people saw that a long time had passed and Moses had not come down from the mountain. So they gathered around Aaron. They said to him, "Look, Moses led us out of the land of Egypt, but we don't know what has happened to him. So make us some gods to go before us and lead us." Aaron said to the people, "Bring me the gold earrings that belong to your wives, sons and daughters." So the people collected all their gold earrings and brought them to Aaron. He took the gold from the people and used it to make an idol. Using a special tool, he shaped the gold into a statue of a calf. Then the people said, "Israel, Here are your gods. These are the gods that brought you out of the land of Egypt. Aaron saw all these things, so he built an altar in front of the calf. Then Aaron made an announcement. He said, Tomorrow will be a special festival to honor the Lord. The people woke up very early the next morning. They killed animals and offered them as burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. They sat down to eat and drink. Then they got up and had a wild party. At the same time, the Lord said to Moses, Go down from the mountain. Your people, the people you brought out of the land of Egypt, have committed a terrible sin. They have very quickly turned away from what I have commanded them to do. They made a calf from melted gold for themselves. They are worshipping that calf and making sacrifices to it. The people have said, Israel, these are the gods that led you out of Egypt. The Lord said to Moses, I have seen these people, and I know that they are very stubborn. They will always turn against me. So now let me destroy them in anger. Then I will make a great nation for you. But Moses begged the Lord his God, Lord, do not let your anger destroy your people. You brought them out of Egypt with your great power and strength. But if you destroy your people, the Egyptians will say, God planned to do bad things to his people. That is why he led them out of Egypt. He wanted to kill them in the mountains. He wanted to wipe them off the earth. So don't be angry with your people. Please change your mind. Don't destroy them. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. These men served you, and you used your name to make a promise to them. You said, I will make your people as many as the stars in the sky. I will give your people all this land as I promised. This land will be yours forever. So the Lord felt sorry for the people. He did not do what he said he might do. He did not destroy them. Then Moses went down from the mountain. He had the stone tablets with the agreement on them. The commandments were written on both sides of the stone, front and back. God himself made the stones, and God himself wrote the commandments on them. Joshua heard the noise from the party in the camp. He said to Moses, It sounds like a war down in the camp. Moses answered, It is not the noise of an army shouting for victory, and it is not the noise of an army crying from defeat. The noise I hear is the sound of music. When Moses came near to the camp, he saw the gold calf and the people dancing. He became very angry, and he threw the stone tablets on the ground. The stones broke into several pieces at the bottom of the mountain. Then Moses destroyed the calf that the people had made. He melted it in the fire. Then he ground the gold until it became dust and threw it into the water. Then he forced the Israelites to drink that water. Moses said to Aaron, What did these people do to you that would make you do this? Why did you lead them to do such a terrible sin? Aaron answered, Don't be angry, sir. You know that these people are always ready to do wrong. The people said to me, Moses led us out of Egypt, but we don't know what has happened to him. So make us some gods to lead us. So I told the people, if they had any gold rings, then give them to me. The people gave me their gold. I threw the gold into the fire, and out of the fire came this calf. Moses said that Aaron had let the people get out of control. They were being wild, and all their enemies could see them acting like fools. So Moses stood at the entrance to the camp and said, Anyone who wants to follow the Lord should come with me. Everyone from the tribe of Levi ran to Moses.
Jack, I want to say thank you for reading that passage of Scripture for us today.